We've all got opinions, but some people make a living telling us their opinions. Tonight on The Best Times, you'll hear from journalist and writer Dan Conaway. About 50 million Americans suffer from chronic pain. Tonight we find out what can be done about it. And we'll close out the show with a song. Funding for The Best Times is provided by the Plow Foundation, striving to do the greatest good by helping the greatest number of people since 1964. Additional funding is provided by the members of WKNO. Thank you. Hello, I'm Chris Hardaway. Welcome to this edition of The Best Times, a series that looks at life after 50. Dan Conaway has been writing for a living since his early days in advertising. About a decade ago, he began to use his talents, learned as an ad man, in the world of journalism with a blog entitled Memphasis. He has written regular opinion columns for the Daily News, and now he writes for the Daily Memphian. He writes a lot about Memphis in the South. Sometimes he rants, sometimes he's a romantic. But no matter what the subject, he's always got an interesting take on life. Here's Dan Conaway with a little Memphasis. Well, Dan, thanks so much for being on The Best Times. I appreciate that in this time of coronavirus.
Thank you, Chris.
You know, I've read your blogs, I've read your articles, just all throughout your writing career. At what age did you know that you had talent as a writer?
Probably when I was 7 or 8, but I didn't know whether or not I'd be a writer. I liked it, and I come from a long family of writers and of various talents, and both my brothers are professional writers as well, and they're older than I am. I'm the youngest of 3, so my middle brother has written about 15 or 16 books, and my brother Frank taught English professionally as his career and wrote poetry and wrote for Gray's Journal about trout fishing and a lot of other things. And so writing, as he went to the Iowa Writers Workshop right out of college. So, I mean, there's been a lot of writing going on. I didn't know that I would follow that or not, but it just
runs in the family, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And so does, there's a term for it. I'll just say exaggerating.
You don't do any of that, do you, in your columns? No. You don't exaggerate, do you?
Conversation around the dinner table was, you've heard about the youngest not being able to get any of the mashed potatoes. Well, in our family, the youngest also couldn't get a word in edgewise. So you said something and had to count. So,
all right. Well, speaking of writing, why don't you read, you sent me a link to the very first column you wrote 10 years ago now, right? In the Daily News.
A little over 10 years, yeah.
So why don't you tell us about that, maybe read a little bit of it.
This part of the world, and Memphis as its capital, gave the rest of the world rhythm and blues, the beat of rock and roll, the king and court of unconventional and striking. And yes, we gave them greens and cornbread too, and grits and chitlins and fried green tomatoes and fried chicken. We gave them the stuff that sustains life in hard-to-live lives, soul-stirring music born of abject poverty, mouth-watering flavor from food easy to come by out in the yard, over in the field. A sense of, I can make it, I can change it, I can create it, because the most ordinary of origins have sent such extraordinary gifts to the world from here. We're known the world over for the beat of our mojo, for the depth and breadth of our creativity, the warmth of our hospitality, and as the most giving city of our size anywhere. Yet, if you listen to us, you'd never know it. At my age, and in my generation, I think that that is a sad state of affairs, that we are so down on our own city and have been my entire career. I think there is hope. I think in the emerging generation, even the generation just behind my own, there is less of that, and there's more pride and hope in what the city has done and can do, and there's more recognition of its faults and what we have to fix. I think that's very hopeful for us. If you write for a living, like I have my entire career, as an advertising and marketing consultant, as a copywriter, and then on my own as a columnist for over 10 years, if you can't find something to write about in this city, you have no business writing. It's, all you got to do is open the window and listen. It's take a walk and look around. It's a fascinating place to be at any given time from both the good and bad reasons.
So I take it then that when you sit down in front of a blank screen or a blank piece of paper and you've got a deadline, you don't have any problem with coming up with an idea, right?
Well, I'm glad you said an idea. You didn't say a good one. I think what I fear the most is that you, as any writer does, you look at a computer screen and that cursor is blinking. One of these days, and hopefully it won't be anytime soon, there won't be anybody home. There'll just be a cursor blinking, and I'll have no concept of what comes after it. It may take me a little time each time I sit down to write something, to start something. And I may go discard whatever that is and replace it with something else, but there's somebody there. There's something home. There's something to start the process. And I fear one day there might not be. Editing is another. I have a magnet on my bar refrigerator. It says, "Write drunk, edit sober."
Maybe I should get a magnet like that.
I think both of those things are really good advice.
We would be sitting in Channel 10 studio. We'd be talking face to face, but certainly the coronavirus has changed all of that. We're living in what they are now calling the new normal. And I'm curious, from your standpoint, what do you think about the new normal? And how long do you think we're going to have to live in this new normal?
Well, I think we're going to have to live in it until it becomes the normal. Coronavirus isn't going anywhere, but, and I know you take this in advance, and by the time it runs, maybe we'll be a little better off, but we'll still have it with us. How we look at how we live is going to change, or already has changed. It's less hard on me initially than it is on most, because I've worked out of where I'm sitting right now for 13 years, and I've been by myself. My wife's here, but she doesn't work with me. The dogs are right here, and they love everything I write, so they're not a very good.
You didn't realize you were rehearsing for the coronavirus for 13 years, and you didn't realize.
I was, but I thought I was, and I thought, well, it won't infect us as much because we're here anyway. But it does.
It does.
You've got to go out into the world, and what I used to enjoy doing and miss most is that I would go into crowded restaurants at lunch and do my homework. I'd bring a journal or I'd bring something to read and work on, but I'd also be paying attention to whatever's around me, because that's what I'm going to be writing about. If not that week, some other time, it feeds it. And people feed that, all kinds of people. I think that Memphis is blessed with all kinds of people. Just go in Kroger and spend a few minutes in the meat department and just listen to some of the conversations. I miss that, because now people are, even though they're out more than they have been, they're still frightened. They're still frightened of each other. They're still frightened of the circumstances they find themselves in. They're still frustrated by the lack of toilet paper. And I still haven't figured what that's all about.
Nobody has. Nobody knows the answer to that question.
And we thought, well, we better get with this. So the last time I went to the grocery store, I went to get some tonic to make a gin and tonic, and I came back. They were out of tonic, but I came back with toilet paper.
Well, that's a success.
My wife said, "Why? We have plenty." I said, "You never know. Evidently."
No, you never know. Well, by the time this airs, we may be in the second wave, or maybe we won't be. Who knows?
There's a group of guys I have lunch with that I've known for 100 years, and we get together on Tuesdays, and we haven't been able to do that for the last few weeks. We've been meeting on one of the porches that one of us has that's big enough for us to be apart and eat individually wrapped sandwiches, and beer comes in sealed bottles, so we can do that too. But just the talking to those guys about nothing means everything, because that's what we're doing. We're getting back into sharing what we think about things. And I miss that with a lot of other people. I miss that even in the context of going to a restaurant, even though some are open and we've been, the distancing is more than just a fact. It's a feeling. You do feel distant. You don't feel involved, and you don't feel engaged, and you wonder if you're even supposed to be there. That will have an impact on us, on our socializing and on our ability to talk to each other in meaningful ways, and that is going to be a critical loss to our creativity, if nothing else.
You mentioned socialization and isolation. Those are two of the concerns, aging concerns of an older population. So
Sure.
give me your thoughts on what are the most important aging issues facing us here?
Well, mobility is one of them. People don't obviously have as much mobility as they get older, but they still want to get out and about and move around and see people. That's become increasingly difficult for them to do on top of their other problems. And it's also the fear of things. I mean, for instance, you get a little bit tired of starting and ending your day with you being dead center in the middle of the bullseye for this particular disease. I mean, every sentence about it starts with what the at-risk group is and how we must take care of our elderly. Well, you realize you're one of those, and it's sort of depressing, as if you didn't have enough to be depressed already. Like, for instance, having hair where you never had hair and having no hair where you had a lot of hair before. I mean, little problems like that, getting with each other. Grandchildren. Grandchildren are a joy. I know it's a cliche, and I thought it was a cliche before I had them. Now it's just a fact of life. You want to be and around your grandchildren, and you can't do that on Facebook, and you can't do that on Zoom. You try, but it's not the same as that wonderful madness of little bitty people all around you doing what they do, and being a part of that. And we, our age group, miss that kind of contact, because that's the hope of the world. Hope of the world is what's in your grandchildren. It's in your children too, but when the grandchildren come along, that's another generation. That's a whole nother idea.
Okay, you write an opinion column. So what is your personal opinion as you are getting older?
I feel a little bit like Dorian Gray. I think I look pretty good, but I'm rotten on the inside. So, I mean, it's just a different feeling. Your health is an issue all the time. But here's the good side of it. You learn to enjoy the moment. And you wish that you'd enjoyed the moment all of your life. You really, truly wish you'd appreciated the passing parade like you do now. And being able to see it, be able to participate in it, and to be able to be a viable part of it. Writing a column has been a real blessing for me, because it makes me pay attention every week. I mean, I think I owe it to my readers to not ever phone it in. I mean, you may not like it, you may not agree with it, but I try to write it well, and I try to make my point, and I have a point to make, and I have a story to tell. And at my age, it's nice to have those things, rather than sitting around and starting everything with, "I'll tell you another damn thing."
Well, that could be the first line of your next column.
Actually.
Yes, I was just thinking that. Dan, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being on The Best Time.
Sure, I'm delighted to be here.
Sometimes it seems as though pain and aging go hand in hand. Arthritis, nerve pain in the back or neck, migraine headaches, it all adds up to chronic pain. According to the National Institutes of Health, 30% of older adults report having chronic pain. And it's one of the most common reasons adults over 65 seek medical care. So, can we do anything to control or even prevent it? Let's find out more about coping with chronic pain. Well, thank you, Dr. Schnapp, for being on The Best Times, talking about chronic pain.
Thanks for having me.
Let's begin with a definition. What is chronic pain?
Chronic pain, we used to say any pain that lasted for 6 months or longer. But reality is it depends on the intensity of the pain. If you have a mild headache for 6 months, not a big problem. If you have shingles pain or sciatica, it doesn't take many days of suffering before it starts changing your life.
Well, what causes chronic pain?
Oh, there are so many things. Remember, any part of your body can hurt except the brain, which is interesting. But you can have pain coming from just about anywhere. Common for most of us as we get older, joint pain, osteoarthritis, and other arthritis like rheumatoid. But nerve damage becomes common. Diabetes can cause what we call neuropathies with burning pain in the feet. Sciatica is common when people have ruptured disc. So there are a number of pains. I would say that in my practice, there are at least 24 main pains that we see at least every day.
Well, and that made me think, I mean, obviously chronic pain affects your physical health. Can it also affect your mental health?
Absolutely. And one of the reasons is the mental attitude. If you have chronic pain, it can lead to depression, anxiety, panic attacks. It can really change a person who is productive and amiable into somebody who's irritated all the time, depressed. Lack of sleep will also do it. We need to sleep, and pain is frequently a major factor for insomnia.
Well, as a pain specialist, how do you go about treating chronic pain?
The first thing is to have a proper diagnosis. So people with pain, they should see first their primary care physician. And I would say the vast majority of pains can be treated by the primary care. When that does not suffice, then we are there. And because of our field of expertise, we are more likely to see pathologies that the primary care may see once a year, I may get to see every day. So more experience helps. And the first item here is to come up with a proper diagnosis. You don't want to start treating things you don't understand. So you come up with a proper name, and then you do therapeutic trials. Trials go from medication, sometimes simple, sometimes complex. Pain specialists often do interventional pain management. That can mean nerve blocks or sometimes burning of the nerves in certain areas. More complex treatments such as spinal cord stimulators, which is like a fancy pacemaker introduced into the spine to alleviate pain. So we have a whole gamut of things. We make sure that people exercise, that they get a rehabilitation program. We look at their mental attitude. We're very keen on this. We oftentimes treat depression concomitantly with the pain.
Is from what you're saying, it seems to me that it's more about pain management than pain cure, correct?
Absolutely. We look at pain like we look at diabetes or Parkinson's disease. This is not something that we necessarily can cure, but something that we can treat so people can live a productive life. That's the main goal. In the end, we don't care so much about pain. We care about happiness.
Now, this is a show, of course, about aging issues. And as we age, we all feel aches and pains. Is that just a natural part of aging? Is it inevitable?
To some extent, yes. At 68, my joints are telling me that I am my age. The back begins to hurt. It's from dust to dust. The corollary to that is we have to accept some of the changes. But when it's enough to affect the day-to-day function, when it's taken away from the quality of life, from being able to play with the grandchildren or garden or continue to work, that's when it needs to be treated. And those are the patients we like. We like patients who are productive, and our job is to keep them so.
And I guess it sounds like that might be a way as we age to ease those aches and pains, correct?
Correct. One of the things that people forget is the importance of exercises. In our culture, we look more for a pill than other alternatives. Exercises, meditation, for some people praying, it doesn't matter, anything that works for you. But exercises are fundamental. We have found, after all the studies, there's no preventive treatment for pain that works as good as a regular exercise program.
Well, Dr. Schnapp, thank you very much for being on The Best Times and talking about chronic pain.
Thank you for having me.
For more information on chronic pain, search the website of the National Institutes of Health. We've featured the organization Creative Aging several times on the show. They bring the arts into senior communities throughout the area, including assisted living centers and nursing homes. But because of the pandemic, the music has been silenced. So tonight, we close out the show with one of Creative Aging's performers, the Side Street Steppers, with a song that echoes the way we all feel about the pandemic, Hard Times Come Again No More. Enjoy.
There's a cause in life's pleasures, countless many tears.
Want more information about life after 50? Go online to watch more shows and find more resources. And send us your feedback and story ideas to besttimes@wkno.org. That's all for this edition of The Best Times. Please join us next week for more stories about life after 50. Until then, I'm Chris Hardaway. Thanks for watching. Good night. Funding for The Best Times is provided by the Plow Foundation, striving to do the greatest good by helping the greatest number of people since 1964. Additional funding is provided by the members of WKNO. Thank you.